You've probably been told to save your latte money to get rich. Let's be honest, that's not just terrible advice, it's the kind of thinking that holds you back from building real wealth. The truth is, people who become millionaires in their 20s and 30s are not pinching pennies on coffee. They're playing a completely different game with a different set of rules. They aren't just smarter or luckier, they are more disciplined and more consistent. They've built a financial system, a set of powerful habits that quietly stack up wealth while everyone else is getting distracted. Forget the little tips that don't actually move the needle. We're not talking about cutting coupons here. We're talking about the core mindset shifts that separate the financially free from the financially struggling. This is about going from hopping for wealth to building a machine that creates it for you. In this video, we're pulling back the curtain on the 7 real money habits that young, wealthy people use to get ahead. So stick around, because mastering even a couple of these will completely change your financial future. Let's bust a huge myth right out of the gate. The idea that you need a 6-figure salary from day one to become a millionaire is completely false. Think about the classic stories you hear, like the janitor Ronald Reed who amassed an $8 million fortune, or others who reach a net worth of over $1 million by their early 30s, all while earning a modest salary. How? It wasn't some huge inheritance. Major studies on millionaires, like the National Study of Millionaires, show that nearly 80% received no inheritance at all. It wasn't a lucky stock pick. It was the first and most foundational habit on our list. Number 1, they live below their means, not at or above them. The first habit, the one that makes everything else work, is this: early millionaires create a massive gap between what they earn and what they spend. This isn't about being cheap. It's not about reusing tea bags or never going out to eat. It's a conscious, deliberate decision to fight lifestyle inflation. When your income goes up, you get a promotion, a raise, a bonus. The temptation to immediately upgrade your life is huge. A nicer car, a bigger apartment, more expensive clothes. This is lifestyle inflation, and it's the silent killer of wealth building. It's why so many people who earn high 6-figure incomes are still living paycheck to paycheck. They make more, so they spend more, and their net worth stays stuck at zero. People who get rich early do the exact opposite. When their income jumps, their lifestyle barely changes. Someone fresh out of college might increase their spending by just 10% even if their income doubles. They'll keep living with roommates to hold down housing costs, or they'll drive their paid-off car for another 5 years. They see every raise not as a chance to consume more, but as a chance to buy their freedom faster. They funnel that new money directly into investments. They know that a $1,000 raise spent on a new phone is $1,000 gone forever. But that same $1,000 when invested can become $10,000 or more over time. They intentionally create a wealth gap. This gap is the raw material for their wealth machine. It's not about sacrifice, it's about priorities. They're choosing long-term freedom over short-term flash. This is the single discipline that allows someone on an average salary to become a millionaire. They weren't a high earner, but they were an elite saver because they mastered this first habit. Number 2, they pay themselves first through aggressive automation. The second habit is the system that makes the first one feel effortless. They pay themselves first. Now, this might sound like a cliche you've heard 1,000 times, but the way early millionaires do it is on a whole other level. For most people, money flows like this: income arrives, they pay bills, they spend on stuff they want, and then they hope to save whatever is left. The problem? There's almost never anything left. Wealthy people completely flip the script. They treat saving and investing like their most important bill, the first one they pay, not the last. The second their paycheck hits their account, an automatic transfer shoots a huge portion of it, not to a savings account earning nothing, but directly into their investment accounts. This isn't an afterthought, it's the very first financial move they make. And it's all automated. They don't rely on willpower. Willpower is a battery that runs out, and it's at its lowest when you're tired, stressed, or staring at a shiny new thing you want. Early millionaires know this, so they take willpower out of the equation. They set up automatic transfers for 10%, 20%, sometimes even 50% of their income. The money is invested before they even have a chance to miss it. What's interesting is that most of these people don't do traditional line-by-line budgeting. They don't torture themselves with spreadsheets agonizing over every coffee. Why? Because automation makes it almost unnecessary. By automatically securing a huge chunk of their income off the top, they can spend the rest of their money guilt-free, knowing their future is already being taken care of. The system just works for them, running on autopilot. Number 3, they avoid consumer debt like the plague. The third habit is a critical defense strategy. They treat consumer debt like it's financial kryptonite. There's a mathematical truth that early millionaires understand in their bones: you can't build wealth when you're paying 18%, 20%, or 25% interest to credit card companies. That's not a wealth plan, it's a get-broke plan. They see a huge difference between two kinds of debt: strategic debt and destructive debt. Strategic debt helps you buy assets that will likely grow in value. Think of a mortgage on a rental property or a well-planned business loan. The asset you're buying can generate income and appreciate, paying for itself over time. Destructive debt, on the other hand, is for buying things that lose value. This means credit cards for vacations, dinners out, new clothes, or the latest gadget. You get a quick hit of pleasure, but you're stuck with a liability that actively drains your future. Paying interest on a meal you ate last month is the financial equivalent of sprinting on a treadmill that's going backward. You're putting in a ton of effort, but you're losing ground. People who get rich before 35 are allergic to this. They use debit cards or pay their credit card balances in full every single month. No exceptions. If they can't afford to buy something with the money they have today, they just don't buy it. This isn't a moral high ground, it's just cold, hard math. Every dollar paid in interest is a dollar that could have been invested in compounding for them. They've decided to make their money work for them, not against them. If these first few habits are already making you rethink your approach to money, do me a favor and hit that like button. It really helps the channel reach more people who are ready to take control of their financial journey. And if you're new here, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss what's next. We're just getting warmed up. Number 4, they invest early and consistently, not perfectly. This leads us to the fourth and maybe the most powerful habit of all: they start investing early and they stay consistent no matter what. The secret ingredient to building wealth isn't a huge income or some secret stock tip. It's time. The power of compound growth is the closest thing to real magic that exists, and it massively rewards people who start early. Consider this: if a 25-year-old invests just $300 a month with an average 10% annual return, they could have over $1.1 million by age 65. But if they wait just 10 years and start at 35, they would need to invest over double that, more than $700 a month, to end up with the same amount. That 10-year delay is incredibly expensive. Every day you're not invested, you're giving up your single biggest advantage. Early millionaires don't try to be heroes. They're not day traders trying to time the market. They live by a simple truth: time in the market beats timing the market every single time. They typically use simple, low-cost investments like index funds or ETFs that track the whole market. They set up their automatic investments and just let them run through bull markets and market crashes. When the market is down, they don't panic. They know their automatic contributions are just buying more shares on sale. And they don't wait until they have a ton of money to start. The idea that you need thousands of dollars to be an investor is a total myth. The habit is more important than the amount. Starting with just $50 a month in your 20s does something powerful. It builds the habit and changes your identity from a consumer to an owner. This is the engine of wealth, and it's how real fortunes are built: slowly, boringly, and effectively. Number 5, they invest in skills to dramatically increase their income. Habit number 5 is what separates the casual saver from the early millionaire. They don't just invest their money, they invest in themselves. Specifically, they invest in high-income skills. They know their ability to earn is their greatest asset, and they are obsessed with growing it. While living below your means is critical, you can only cut so much. Your expenses can only go to zero, but there is absolutely no ceiling on how much you can earn. Early millionaires focus relentlessly on the income side of the equation. There's a great story about a 28-year-old engineer who got his first big bonus for $12,000. His coworker immediately went out and bought a used BMW. This engineer, though, took that same money and spent $8,000 on a high-demand tech certification and a public speaking coach. Within 2 years, he used those new skills to triple his income. Suddenly, that BMW was a trivial purchase. He had built an income machine that would pay him for the rest of his career. This habit shows up in a few key ways. They learn to negotiate their salary effectively, armed with research to prove their value. They develop in-demand skills like software development, sales, or digital marketing. Many build side hustles not just for extra cash but to test new skills and diversify their income. This focus on growing their earning power is the jet fuel for their wealth-building system. They combine a high savings rate with a rapidly growing income, creating an unstoppable financial force. Number 6, they become lifelong students of money. The sixth habit is the foundation that holds all the others together. Wealthy people never, ever stop learning about money. They know financial literacy isn't a class you take once, it's a lifelong practice. The school system may have failed to teach us about taxes, investing, and debt, but early millionaires take it upon themselves to close that knowledge gap. They are voracious learners. They read books on personal finance. They listen to financial podcasts on their commute. They study the tax code to find legal ways to keep more of their money. They stay informed about the economy, not to time the market, but to understand how the world is changing so they can adjust their strategy. This continuous learning is what allows them to spot real opportunities and avoid costly mistakes or get-rich-quick schemes. They learn how to tell the difference between an asset that puts money in their pocket and a liability that takes money out. They understand core concepts like asset allocation, risk tolerance, and tax-advantaged retirement accounts. This self-education builds the most important trait of all, financial confidence. When you understand the rules of the money game, you stop being afraid to play it. You go from being a pawn in the financial system to being an active player who knows how to make the system work for you. Money stops being a source of stress and becomes what it is, a tool. A tool that you are getting better and better at using to build the life you want. Number 7, they master long-term thinking and delay gratification. And finally, the seventh habit, the mindset that makes all of this possible, they master the art of long-term thinking and delayed gratification. In a world of instant downloads, next-day shipping, and buy now, pay later, the ability to delay gratification is a genuine superpower. It's the psychological muscle that predicts financial success more than almost anything else. The famous Stanford marshmallow experiment showed this perfectly. Kids were offered one marshmallow now, or two if they could just wait a few minutes. The kids who could wait for the second marshmallow went on to have better life outcomes, including greater financial success. People who get rich early learn to choose the second marshmallow over and over again. They trade the short-term buzz of a new car for the long-term freedom of financial independence. They trade a Friday night out spending money for a quiet night in working on the side hustle that will one day buy back all of their time. This long-term mindset even affects their social lives. They often consciously spend less time with friends whose main hobby is spending money. This isn't about being antisocial, it's about curating an environment that supports their goals. They know that you become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, and they seek out others who are also focused on growth, learning, and building something for the future. Ultimately, this all comes down to an ownership mentality. They take 100% responsibility for their financial lives. They don't blame the economy, their boss, or their circumstances. They see their financial position as the sum of their habits and choices. That mindset is incredibly empowering. It replaces helplessness with action. They aren't just wishing for a better future, they are actively building it one disciplined choice at a time. So there you have it, the 7 real money habits of people who get rich before 35. It starts with creating a gap by living below your means. Then you automate your investing to pay yourself first. You avoid destructive debt like the plague. You invest early and consistently, letting time and compounding do the heavy lifting. You constantly invest in your skills to grow your income. You become a lifelong student of money. And finally, you master the art of long-term thinking and delayed gratification. Notice how these habits create a powerful reinforcing system. Living below your means gives you the money to invest. Automating those investments makes it effortless. Avoiding debt stops your system from leaking money and power. And investing in your skills provides more fuel for the entire machine. It's not about doing one thing perfectly, it's about doing several important things consistently. The biggest takeaway is this: getting rich early is rarely about luck, it's about having a system. It's about shifting your identity from a consumer to an owner, from being passive with your money to being intentional. The path isn't a secret, but it does require discipline. Start with one habit, master it, then add the next. The journey to financial freedom is built on these small, daily choices. The best time to start was yesterday. The second best time is right now. What is the one habit from this list that you are going to start implementing this week? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single one. And if you found this video valuable, share it with one friend who you want to see win with their money. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.